is your weekly celestial forecast for the week beginning November 27th, 2023. So, to start off on Monday, we're feeling very chatty as the moon is in Gemini. We want to be on the go, we're restless, and all forms of communication are highlighted. And because we're talking Gemini to connected with the third house, that can include the internet, social media, and even technology. So talk, and communicate and be on the go. But we will have to be careful of our travel because a day and a half later we have, yes indeed, we have the square with Neptune, but that's on Tuesday. Nonetheless, we do want to be rather cautious because here too, the moon in Gemini is also squaring off Mercury, the communicator, which is the depositor of the moon. And that indeed does square Neptune. So, even so, be careful of travel and all forms of communication. If you can, delay for another day any kind of important meetings or get togethers or important discussions. That might be wise because of today's cloudy communicative atmosphere. You might find you will change your mind later. And of course, do be careful of all travel, as there could be delays there as well, or snafus, especially starting on Tuesday. And we have Uranus still retrograde in the sign of Taurus, and Jupiter retrograde in Taurus, although not conjunct Uranus. So we are feeling a wee bit stubborn, and there could be some unexpected conflicts that arise. But the good news is because the sun is in Sagittarius and Mars is in Sagittarius as well, and out of the sign in Scorpio, the conflicts will be kept to a minimum now, which is very good. Yes, but nonetheless, with this Taurus emphasis, with Jupiter and Taurus, even retrograde, money issues are going to be paramount. And there's going to be some information regarding banks, corporations, financial institutions, and so on with this retrograde placement with Jupiter in Taurus and Uranus in Taurus as well. So we're also going to have to also be careful of a little bullying, but nonetheless, the sun is in very happy-go-lucky Sagittarius with Mars. So that's very good. And there is an opposition with the moon. So both Sagittarius and Gemini are very restless signs. And this kind of adds to this atmosphere of uncertainty with travel and communications and not making long distance plans. But nonetheless, we are feeling rather lucky. Maybe we want to gamble a little bit. And what is Sagittarius? Sagittarius is all about the ninth house, as is Mars, the planet of action in Sagittarius. And although Mercury is late in Sagittarius, right now we are feeling a little bit feisty. We want to tell it like it is, yes, but there's a sweet trine between the North Node in Aries and Mercury, the communicator and the depositor of the moon on Monday and Tuesday. Yeah, in a fire sign. So with that sweet trine with Aries and Sagittarius, well, that's really good because with the North Node, that's a sensitive point, as is the South Node. So we are feeling really kind of sensitive to each other, which is really good. We want to take time to kind of heal. There could be information from the past that comes up that's rather important on Monday. So that's really good. We really want to feel good. It's a time for positivity on Monday, even with the opposition with the moon. We are really very steered in the direction of our future because we're talking Sagittarius here, and we really are preparing for our goals, and we are going about with really wonderful enthusiasm. And Pluto, the power planet, is still in the sign of Capricorn, late at 28 degrees, and Saturn is pretty much at 1 degree, even though it's 0:59 of Pisces. So that's very good. Now, Saturn is Pisces. So you're going to finally feel like if you had any projects on the back burner, any important plans, goals, what have you, with Saturn's presence now direct, you're going to feel like some of those burdens are just lifted off of your shoulders now, and that's all too good. So let's look ahead to the next day, which is Tuesday. Yes, indeed. It is now November the 28th, and the moon is further along in the sign of Gemini. We're still feeling restless and chatty. However, we cannot ignore we have a T square in the mutable signs of Gemini, Mercury in Sagittarius, and yes, that deceptive Neptune in Pisces. So this kind of much more on Tuesday heightens the need to be very cautious in our coming and going and our travel. But at the very least, kind of like, but much more emphasized on Tuesday, we've got to be clear about our communications and our plans, because it's small issues like this with this mutable T square that can indeed get us into some scuffles or snafus with each other. So if you've got, again, important plans or meetings, well, if you can't change it, then you can't change it. Then see the best. But if you can delay any important conversations for another day from Tuesday, that would be advisable, because yes, again, there could be delays or just mix-ups or snafus. You have it, and even coming and going, there could be some issues with travel, whatever that could be. And now officially, Saturn is at 1 degree of Pisces, and that is squaring both the Sun and Mars. So although we've got excellent enthusiasm on, well, pretty much all week, with Mars in Sagittarius and the Sun in Sagittarius, it does square Saturn. And Saturn is, yes, there's that word again. Saturn is about delay and sometimes blockages and so on. But keep in mind, Saturn is about karma. So Saturn is in the very watery sign of Pisces now. So we're feeling a little bit blocked, a little bit sensitive, and Sagittarius just wants to be on the go. Sagittarius just wants to preach, and Sagittarius wants to speak their mind, somewhat like the sign of Gemini. But Sagittarius is very straightforward. So there could be here too, as in the T square, mutable T square, there could be this tendency to kind of speak without thinking. So yes, emphasized on Tuesday, communications could be a little bit topsy-turvy on Tuesday. So if you have to write or speak or travel, what have you, teach, because we're talking ninth house and third house here, what have you. It's great for creativity. It's great to be very upfront and honest, but that's where the issue is. So really think before you speak, think before you write. You really want to be cautious. That is the warning of Saturn in Pisces, because if not, Well, whatever is said now could catch up to you later on with all these uh, squares here going on, especially on Tuesday and even on Monday. Plans, well, they may not go on as expected. And we've got Venus, the planet of love. Yes, indeed. And now conjunct the South Node. So Venus is in its own in Libra, pretty much at its best, other than in Pisces. But with the South Node, this kind of gives us a little bit of some sensitivity, and it's kind of like a double-edged sword within relationships or any kind of social endeavors. On one hand, we're going to be very conscientious of the social graces, relationships, and yes, even legal issues, because Libra is connected with legalities and the courts and so on in Libra. But with the South Node here, it is a very sensitive point. So on one hand, we are very compassionate or sensitive to our loved ones, but on the other hand, we may be a little bit touchy or oversensitive, or there's something maybe socially that may touch a certain soft point right now. And we're going to have to be careful of that because Venus does run into that square with powerhouse Pluto. So another thing we're going to have to watch out for pretty much this week with Venus and the later degrees of Libra as the South Node is not getting into any tit for tat power plays with loved ones because of the presence of Pluto squaring off the South Node and Venus, the planet of love. So, yes, just be cautious of all communications within relationships and realize it's not a power play. It's about what? Venus. It's about harmony and balance. So let's look ahead to the next day. Yes, which is the middle of the week officially, and it is now the 29th of November. The Sun and Mars are still in Sagittarius, so we're really still telling it like it is, but we now have the moon in Cancer. Oh, that's so sweet. It's in its own, and it is making a sweet trine to Saturn. So on Wednesday, some of the blocks that we felt communicative wise on Monday and Tuesday are kind of lifting on Wednesday. And now we're talking Cancer, and Cancer is about the fourth house. It's about family and protections. So we're feeling awfully protective of each other on Wednesday, but this is too good. However, we cannot omit that there is a quincunx or inconjunct between the Sun and Mars and the Moon. So although we're feeling protective, we're also feeling very sensitive. And this could be regarding family issues, or it could be regarding issues of the past, because this is all about fourth house endeavors. And also, believe it or not, there could be sensitivity to, believe it or not, yes, repairs or renovations regarding our house, because we're talking fourth house, which is actually our physical abode. So there could be frustrations if you're trying to renovate something or repair something on Wednesday. So if there are some snafus in the areas of security protections or especially renovations on Wednesday, just kind of realize that this too shall pass. But nonetheless, with this quincunx between the Sun and Mars, the planet of action, well, that could give us here too some edginess when we are trying to really get going. We may feel on Wednesday things are just having to be put on the back burner. Maybe there's a need for an important discussion that doesn't happen, or as mentioned, fourth house issues may be a bit frustrating, and especially also connected with security or money, financial issues as well. So do be careful of some of those frustrations on Wednesday. But nonetheless, with that sweet trine to Saturn at least our goals are finally getting off the ground, or something important as far as some kind of discussion, or as mentioned prior, there could be something important regarding the past that comes up now. However, also one thing to kind of backtrack here, because of earlier in the week, Monday and Tuesday, because of the prior T square, there could be issues regarding water, oceans, or moisture, environmental issues, sea life, and so on with that square once it was in Gemini. But yes, on Wednesday, it's now in the sign of Cancer, so we're feeling protective, but we don't want to feel too overly sensitive. So at least there's a sweet sextile with Jupiter in Taurus, even retrograde, and the moon in Cancer. So at least on Wednesday, if we're feeling a little edgier, something's just not right in our communications, or something's just not right with the way we're feeling. Well, at least with Jupiter in Taurus and the moon in Cancer, at least here we have a positive outlook regarding what? Security, our money, because Jupiter is still in the money sign of Taurus. So there's going to be possibly some kind of good news regarding money, finance, or some kind of job news. But if, again, important discussions, delay for another day. And we're going to move along to the next day, which is indeed Thursday, and that's the 30th of November, and we are inching ever so close to December, and the moon is further along in the sign of Cancer, still feeling a little bit protective, but guess what? Oh, now there's a sweet trine with Neptune. So if Monday, Tuesday, the communications were a little cloudy, or some travel was a little bit uncertain, well, guess what? We have a sweet applying trine to Neptune. So this is really good if you've wanted to have that particularly important heart to heart, sensitive, compassionate talk or discussion, then Thursday is your day, because now we're not only feeling very security minded and protective, we've got Neptune in the sign of Pisces making a trine with the moon in Cancer. So we are really apt to consider each other's feelings and what? Emotions a little bit more on Thursday. And our communications will be a little bit clearer and, well, yes, a little bit more sensitive. So Thursday's a much better day to plan out and adhere to, with the moon applying the sextile to Uranus. So we want to express our originality and our creativity on Thursday, and kind of like the day before on Wednesday, because we got this Cancer Taurus connection. It's really good for possible job news or money. We're kind of planning for a rainy day. So this is all good, but we can't ignore the fact here we have an applying square between the North Node and Venus, the planet of love in Libra, and an applying T-square very late Thursday, likely early Friday, with Pluto. So yes, although we are sensitive in our communications and with a little touch of compassion, there is some building tension also within relationships. This edge of power. Yes. So here too, starting off on Friday, and let's look ahead, by the way, to officially the weekend on Friday. Yes, the sense of power is building Friday. So on Friday, possibly Friday morning, very late Thursday, we may hear about some individuals who are kind of overstepping their bounds with power. Friday, we're going to have to watch not to get into any kind of power plays or power conflicts. And that's not just in love, although it does involve Venus and the South Node, the planet of love. Yes, that's very good for harmony and keeping balance. But yes, here we have this T square, and Libra does want to just keep the harmony. And Libra is very people oriented, but keep in mind, uh, the courts, legalities, social anything, the public eye, all forms of relationships are connected with Libra. So that leads me to believe later Thursday and into Friday, there could be some information that comes out now regarding legal issues, contracts, the courts, leaders, and, well, whoever it is that are authorities that could be in positions of authority, either one overstepping their bounds. And yes, that could also be connected with just about anything in that realm, including government and the like. However, if you are in a position of authorities too, on Friday, Thursday, Friday, you just want to take a light touch and really kind of delegate that sense of power for another day when the astrological weather is a little more calmed down, so we shall say, and a little less friction in the air. However, nonetheless, there is now still this trine between Uranus, although a very wide trine within 8 degrees, barely there with Pluto and Uranus. So we may have a creative way of creating peace because the depositor of both Jupiter and Uranus is indeed Venus in Libra, and the Sun and Mars are still in Sagittarius, and guess what? Now even Mercury is in Capricorn. So we are feeling enthusiastic and wanting to work hard now, and we're gearing up to save some money for the future with this Cancer Taurus influence, and now Mercury and Capricorn. But we have still such enthusiasm with Mars and the Sun in Sagittarius. But guess what? The next day we're gonna go with the moon in Leo. Yes, indeed. Let's look officially to Saturday now, December 2nd. We are in the month of December, and the moon is now into Leo. So late on Friday, and then Saturday, the moon is in Leo. Oh, that really picks up our enthusiasm and our pep in the step on Saturday. Yes, it's all about our originality. It's all about our goals and ambitions. And it's all about really having a good feeling and sense of the future. So Leo is about the fifth house. So children's issues are paramount now. Anything to do with our creativity. We just want to show off just a little bit. And with the Sun and Mars and Sagittarius, we've got the North Node in Aries and Chiron. So there's a little bit of a grand trine here. I'm applying grand trine. Well, with the Sun at 10 degrees, the moon at 12 degrees. We're pretty much late Friday going into Saturday. And then we've got Chiron at 15 degrees and the North Node at 23 degrees Aries. So although there was that bit of a T-square the day before on Friday with Pluto and Venus, and the moon, now we've got the moon in Leo. So from friction to fun, you could say on Saturday, we are feeling like we want to express ourselves and who we are. We want to gather with groups. So Saturday is very group oriented. We want to kind of put our heads together and work on projects or goals. And we've also got applying the following day sextile with Venus and the North Node. So that's good. So the tensions probably will not last very long on Friday with the power plays because by Saturday, we're just feeling so good about the future and all our social contacts and creativities uh, of all kinds and projects. This can only be too good. Yes, but we also have a bit of a square with Jupiter, the planet of luck and prosperity, the exaggerative big deal planet, and the moon in Leo. So that is one thing we're going to have to watch out for late Friday and into Saturday is not making a big deal or exaggerating things a bit too much because that could create a little bit of tension within this square and because the moon is applying a square to Uranus. So yes, look out on Saturday and then in Sunday for some big earth changes, some big earthquakes and the like. Also, a little feistiness on here and expect the unexpected on Saturday with Uranus in Taurus and the moon in Leo. It's great to show off a little bit. It's great for social contacts. It's great for our enthusiasm and future endeavors. But we don't want to be too stubborn in our outlooks if we feel that our ideas are a little bit better than the next person's. It's all about cooperation with this connection with Venus and the North Node and the Sun and Mars in Sagittarius. But we're going to have a little bit more about our ambitions now because Mercury, the communicator, is in Capricorn. So that adds just a touch of seriousness, and there's a sweet sextile with Saturn, which, by the way, is the depositor of Mercury. So, although we're feeling enthusiastic and rather sociable, yes, with this Mercury in Capricorn, Saturn in Pisces, we are feeling a little more grounded, down to earth now. We really want to solidify our plans for the future, and that can only be too good. And let's look ahead to the next day on Sunday, the last day of the week, and now it is December 3rd. And the moon is further along in the sign of Leo and making that square to Uranus. Yes, as mentioned, there could be some earth changes going on Sunday that are rather large. Yes. And with the moon in Leo, that is now past the trine with Mars and the sun and going void. So Sunday is not the day to make any important plans or contracts, but we have to keep in mind there is still this beautiful harmonious sextile between the South Node and Venus, the planet of love. Good time for downtime. Yes, that connection with creativity and social anything that is very positive is there. And because we still have this sweet trine to the North Node and Chiron. So on Sunday, it's a good time for downtime, but we are feeling like we are really feeling kind of tempered in our enthusiasm, and we want to really work together with people on Sunday, kind of spilling over that connection with Saturday, that people group connection on Saturday into Sunday. But now, because the connection is with the North Node with a sweet trine there, and the sextile with Venus in the South Node, we're feeling a little bit more tempered, like we are really thinking about how our relationships really affect us, affect our future, affect each other, because this is the North Node and yes, even the South Node, and they are very sensitive connections. So that means that we're very likely going to have very sensitive, even if social sensitive connections on Sunday. That can only be good for some downtime. Good time to just take it easy and meditate with a touch of creativity. So, until the next weekly celestial report, have a good one. If you'd like to get in touch with me, my contact information is down below. I give one-on-one readings and written reports. Please subscribe to this channel and press the bell notification. Until next time, many, many blessings.